left, right.
Yo, 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 this episode is about misnomers and common misconceptions. So, get ready to learn some things that you probably didn't know. I know I learned a lot in this episode, so listen on, enjoy, and if you can think of anything that we missed, throw it in the comments. See you on the other end. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Of course, let's go.
Cheers.
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 All right, that long pour means that we are live. Welcome, everyone, to SipTalk, episode 185. My name is Justin DiGiulio, joined by James, the Bosnator Boswell, philosopher, bartender, professional referee, and most exciting of all, accountant. James, how's it hanging down there in sunny South Carolina?
It was pretty cloudy today, so we're false advertising.
Yeah, man, that's not good. You got to talk to the governor down there. That's
He's got more important things to do, like make sure that the state executes people by firing squad and prevents women from getting abortions.
I could be wrong on this. I don't know, but is there any firing squad, or are you pulling this out of your ass?
No,
because I wouldn't be surprised. That's a real thing?
No, that's 100% real.
Because
the state used to do its executions by lethal injection, but for the last couple years, pretty much any state's had a really hard time getting the drugs needed for that because manufacturers and doctors have just said no. And so the state said, well, we still need to kill people. And if we can't do it with drugs, then, there's either the electric chair or firing squad. And the state decided on firing squad.
Seems a lot messier to me. It seems a lot messier.
I have a solution to this, actually.
What is the solution?
Just don't kill people.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if your state's ready for that. Look,
dude, it's not that hard. And let me just go off on a rant for a second about this one.
All right, and then I'll introduce the topic because that's important today.
To me, the death penalty is an incredibly stupid thing because, if you're wrong, you can't undo it. If someone is convicted for life in prison, and then 20 or 30 years later, you realize, we screwed up. You can do something to fix it. If you've already shot them, not much you can do. And also, I actually think that life in prison is worse. Because you have to just spend a really long time staring at a wall saying, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I don't think prison is as bad as people envision it to be. I don't know. I feel like there's some soft prisons. I don't know. I've never really.
Even a soft prison is still a prison. I had a volleyball coach that was a former corrections officer, and he said that the biggest punishment in prison was the fact that you're removed from society.
Yeah, on the short term, that on a shorter sentence, that would really bother you. On a longer sentence, it just becomes your life. I thought you were going to say you had a volleyball coach that went to prison, and I was going to say, oh, so you've had two coaches that went to prison. All right, so look, today, let me announce the topic because that's important. Today, we are talking about common misnomers, and those are things that
misconceptions.
Yeah, and misconceptions. But misnomers are words that are meant to sound like something that they are not. But before we hit our very long list, we are shy of one of our producers, Rosh, who feeds us your comments live. So if you're watching live, I see you, Lisa. I see you on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And if you comment on those platforms, we can read them and reply to you. However, if you're watching on TikTok or you're watching on Instagram, we can't see your comments tonight. So unfortunately, Rosh isn't feeding us the
so get on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and all those and comment there so we can interact directly with you. We'll try and respond to your comments as they come in. And as always, we're happy to have Lisa here.
And share your misnomers. If you have some good misnomers, I would love for you to share some of those. We're going to start at the top of the list here. with misnomers from mentalfloss.com. However, I think it's important that we do start with a drink, as this is Sip Talk. James, I heard you crack a beverage over of the myriad of beverages cracking in our intro music.
Yep.
One sounded distinctly like it came from South Carolina. What are you drinking?
Well, Sierra Nevada Wild Little Thing. I got like 2 or 3 left. I'm kind of on this. I'll buy a 6-pack or a 12-pack, and I'll work my way through it. No
That
variety.
only takes me a couple of hours, but I notice you at least can stretch it 2 episodes.
If I'm drinking with the purpose, I'm drinking liquor.
Fair enough. I have a big bottle of whiskey. I'm gonna pour a little in.
Well, it looks like Jim Beam.
Yeah, that is the.
I love how I could catch that side on.
Thank you for calling me out on that. It's a good stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't need to see the front of the label. I could tell from like 2 seconds of exposure of the side.
I'm gonna call it the expensive version, not because Jim Beam is an expensive brand, but because it's the big bottle, so it costs more than the little bottle. And I'm gonna mix a little Pepsi in there. Misnomer is something. I went for a little run today, and I heard somebody just mention a word, and they're like, "Oh, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's confusing." They're talking about rhinoplasties. So I was like,
I actually think that rhinoplasty is the perfect word for it.
I just started thinking, and I was like, "Oh, there's got to be so many misnomers out there." I thought of a couple. Like, I'm going to make a list, and then I came back, sat down at the computer, and we're kind of we're winging it with tonight's topic. But let's start with number 1, Chinese checkers. It is not a form of checkers, nor is it from China. It was actually invented in Germany in 1892, and the name was changed to make it more marketable in 1928.
Rare example of Germans being creative.
All right. I said we go one off the other. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, we can go through.
Yeah.
Some of these will be quicker than others.
Well, yeah. Let me ask you a question, though, about Chinese checkers. Have you ever played Chinese checkers?
Yeah.
I've never played Chinese checkers. I wouldn't even know. Chinese checkers like marbles with like the star, right?
Yeah, and the whole goal is to like get your marbles in the same formation on the other side of the board, and they can jump over like marbles just like in checkers, but there's no capturing.
I just imagine that people had to have been so bored when they invented these games.
Well, think about how bored people were, because if you look at a picture of an advertisement for radio in like the 30s, so the Studebaker radio or whatever, and, that people would have the radios in their living room, and like everybody would be sitting around the living room staring at the radio.
That's true.
Like, I can't wait for you to turn into a TV.
Oh man, yeah, but we used to stare at TVs waiting for them to turn into computers and iPads. You think? I mean, I'm not good now at just sitting and watching TV. Like I just, I can't do it.
No, it's not. It's not engrossing enough. Like if I'm watching TV, I'm also doing something else.
Yeah, exactly.
But think about like how bored you would have had to have been to sit in a living room, staring at a wooden box that's making noise.
There is no visual experience. At least with a TV, your eyes can.
Yeah, like once you tuned the radio, the visual experience was over.
Radio is arguably like one step below books, so there's more technology there. But all right, hit this next one.
Arabic numerals didn't actually originate in the Arabian Peninsula. They were invented in India, but they got the name Arabic numerals because the mathematicians that brought them to Europe were Arabic.
I see. Well, while we're on the subject of math, James, the Fibonacci sequence, in which each number is the sum of the previous two, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, was first discussed by Indian scholars several centuries before Fibonacci. I think
the number of applications that the Fibonacci sequence has is insane.
I'm not too familiar with it. I mean, I understand how it works, but I'm trying to think of where I've seen some type of application of this.
It shows up in nature all the time. Mostly in the way that the golden ratio, which is like 1.68 to 1,
Mm-hmm.
is just a common pattern that you see in nature. When you see flowers and stuff grow, very often they grow in a sequence that's Fibonacci. I can send you pictures. Like if you can look at like cabbages or broccoli and like the way that they spiral out.
Oh, interesting.
If you look at and there's also I'm pretty sure that Euler's number is related to the Fibonacci sequence. That's the letter E that has to do with exponential growth.
I was thinking,
And
when I
also
was,
randomness. There a lot of like random and pseudo-random functions deal with either Euler's number or the Fibonacci sequence.
I was thinking of, and it's been on the tip of my tongue the entire time you've been speaking, but I've been half paying attention. I was thinking, what's that? The shape that's almost like it just kind of gets smaller but recreates itself.
Yeah, it's a Fibonacci spiral.
No, I don't think that's what I'm thinking of.
Logarithmic spiral.
I will think of the word. It's not. We're thinking of two different things. Fractals.
Okay, yeah.
Is fractal? Is there any Fibonacci in fractal?
Maybe.
Okay. All right. I'll let you hit the next one because I think the one after the next one is more what people would. Number 5 is more common misnomer. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
so number 4 we'll go through quick. The Pythagorean theorem was known about 1,000 years before Pythagoras put his name on it by the Babylonians. I'm pretty sure the Egyptians knew about it too because that's how they used rope to create the 90-degree angles for their pyramids because they knew that if they had rope with knots of equal lengths, if they were to do the 3, 4, 5, have 3 on one side, 4 on the other side, and then if there was 5 on the long side, the hypotenuse, they knew that it would be a 90-degree angle. So I'm pretty sure the Egyptians knew about it too.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Much more of a common misnomer. Koala bears are not bears. They are marsupials. And king crabs aren't crabs. I wasn't familiar with that.
So
They're
there's
one
two
of the
things
many
going on
animals that are referred to as false crabs, along with closely related hermit crabs. So then, what is a crab specifically?
I don't know what you have to be like considered a crab instead of a false crab, but there's an interesting like study in biology called carcinization that basically looks at how a lot of different species, when you look at their evolutionary arc, tend to evolve towards things that look like crabs. That you can have a whole bunch of unrelated species that all look really similar, despite having developed completely separately. And
So
also,
king.
koala bears are incredibly stupid animals that are laden with chlamydia.
I didn't know that about the chlamydia. Koala bears are they're the ones that kill people?
Yeah, drop bears.
Yeah, so I
If
heard
you
that.
go, yeah, like the Australians will tell you about the drop bears, you got to watch out for them.
Is that a joke? 'Cause
Yes.
oh, okay. No, I'm pretty sure koala bears kill people. Somebody told me that a lot of times in China, the tourists go to pet the koala bears and end up getting mauled by the koala bear.
No, koala bears are like this big.
I don't. Or maybe I'm thinking of pandas.
Yeah.
Probably
Panda
pandas.
panda
Those are
bears are
big,
also
right?
stupid animals, but not as stupid as koala
Yeah.
bears.
I just want to read you the first paragraph of the king crab Wikipedia. King crabs are a taxon of crab-like decapod crustaceans, chiefly found in cold seas. Because of their large size and the taste of their meat, many species are widely caught and sold as food, the most common being the red king crab.
Yeah, Lisa says you're thinking of pandas. And
Yeah,
you,
okay,
you
panda.
definitely are. Koala bears are like really the size of teddy bears, but far less holdable.
I've wanted a bear skin rug for decades. I think it'd be so cool to have a nice bear skin rug.
I'd
around a
recommend panda skin.
fireplace. Maybe should I hunt one down?
Yeah.
Panda skin wouldn't be as like Abercrombie Lodge in the Adirondacks type feeling.
No, but it would definitely make you look like an international drug dealer.
All right, hit the next one here.
Glowworms and fireflies aren't worms or flies, but insect larvae and beetles. Well, I could have told you that about the fireflies.
They're beetles. Yeah.
Yeah, because like when you hold them, like when you actually look at them up close, they look just like beetles. Fireflies are cool, man. I haven't seen them in a while.
Oh man, they're all over my yard.
Really?
They're all,
You
yeah.
got fireflies?
I have not yet. It's not quite warm enough, and I'm actually right now. There's not many bugs out, and I'm really worried that there's going to be lots of bugs. I don't know. Last year, like it made it miserable to be outside, so I've
No,
tried
well,
to I
like
don't know how to
spray,
mitigate
because
that.
fireflies are endangered right now, and like they've been
Oh.
going away.
Did we talk about the lighthouse, the light something fly? That's this giant infestation in New Jersey.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's another one I'm freaking terrified of. I want to. There's other animals that
Yeah,
eat
go
it.
ahead and kill those ones.
There's other animals that eat it, and you can buy not animals. There's actually other insects that eat it, and you can buy those insects. So if they come back this year, I'm buying insects on the internet and just releasing them into the woods in the backyard. All right, next one. The European Union, not exclusively European. It spans 5 continents. According to the UN, Cyprus is in Asia. Spain, a portion of Spain is in Africa. I did not know that at all. And France has regions in both the North and South America. Okay, I guess that makes sense. I didn't, but they have these territories outside of the European continent.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, you're up with the next.
The horned toad and the slow worm are both species of lizard. I don't
The
really know
horned
what you
toad
mean.
is not a frog. Is not a toad.
According to this, I don't know.
So here's another one that I think much more obvious of a misnomer, but starfish and jellyfish, not fish.
I don't think people actually think that they're fish, though. Like when you look at them, people don't say, "Oh yeah, that's a fish."
That's why I said it's a bit more of a common one. You know that what's that little horse fish called? Seahorse. Seahorse. Those are real animals. Did
Yeah,
you know
they
that?
are.
Dude, that's wild.
You know what also is funny?
What's that?
Is with seahorses, the male seahorse is the one that gets pregnant.
Then why would it be the male?
Because there's a very stubborn scientist out there. Then there's the male seahorse. Well, Bill, I think that one's pregnant. But the male has the baby.
All right. What's next on here? I think that's you, actually.
Despite looking like fashionable ants, velvet ants are actually wasps. I don't know what velvet ants look like.
I don't know
man.
what velvet ants are. Yeah, that's not one I'm familiar with.
This one I don't get either. Like strawberries aren't berries. Neither are blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries. By definition, berries have to be produced by a single ovary, like a red currant or a grape. I don't know what a red currant is. Like grape, sure. And
Yeah.
and then like this is just poorly written because then it says, and for that matter, is a banana. So someone had a stroke while writing this.
Oh man, we get this inquiry that was like the longest. Somebody interested in an apartment the other day, and the longest like life story about them, and then went on to say how they were like a writer, and I thought, but there was no it was basically 3 paragraphs worth of writing, and it explaining how they were a writer, and there was no punctuation at all throughout the entire message. So I think people
they
just
were a
don't
writer,
write
not a
it.
punctuator.
I said, well, if they're published, they must have an incredible editor that just does most of the work for them and interprets. The thing without using punctuation is it's open to interpretation a lot of times. All right, next one. A lot of people know this actually. Peanuts, not nuts.
Legumes.
Because they're related to peas. They are legumes. Coconuts, walnuts, pistachios, also not nuts, but drupes like dates, coffee beans, olives, which are are fleshy fruits surrounded with a hard shell. Let me let in the Rosh here.
All right.
Actually,
Hold
hold
Panama
on.
hats are from Ecuador.
Rosh has joined us, so you guys can continue commenting on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Raj will be following your comments there. However, we're not going to let him in because Raj doesn't like being on video. So he's sitting with his camera off, feeding us your comments. But as Raj said, Elvis is in the building. And by in the building, we mean at home in front of his computer because this is a Zoom.
Yeah, we
meeting.
should really call him the Wizard of Oz.
There you go. All right.
Wizard of Rasht.
All right. What do you got next here?
Panama hats come from Ecuador. Next.
I didn't know that. Panama hats?
Yeah.
What's a Panama hat?
It's kind of like that straw. No.
It has the thing that goes. It's not a straw hat. I think it's like a floppy sombrero, right? And it has the thing that you can.
It's kind of like a fedora, actually.
Ooh. Interesting. All right. Well, let's see. What do we have here? Panama hats come from Ecuador. Is the Panama Canal? Does that border Ecuador?
No.
No. All right.
I'm pretty sure it goes to it's the dividing line between Panama and Colombia, or
Okay.
it might just be all Panama.
I was going to say it could be Panama on both sides, but I mean I don't spend enough time swimming the.
I think it actually is all Panama because the border between Panama and Colombia is what's called the Darien Gap, where there's like no roads. It's like this wild jungle where like drug smugglers and like diphtheria exist, and that's about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's all sorts of like really nasty bugs and stuff, but if you wanted to drive from here to, I don't know, Brazil, you would be able to make it about halfway or 3/4 of the way through Panama, and then the roads would end. And unless you have a super capable car,
You have to be in like a Jeep Wrangler, like we used to do.
you need to be on a Jeep Wrangler that's very well equipped.
Well, we didn't have a winch. We would have gotten a lot. We would have gotten a lot further and probably stuck a lot less if we had a.
I'm
winch.
pretty sure that if you try to make this trip without a winch, you're not going to have a good time.
Did you ever visit when we went up this kind of big mound, like a mini mountain, and my Jeep started to fall off the edge of the cliff? We were there for that.
No, a lot of these Jeep adventures, I arrived after things had gone wrong.
Oh, dude! So I was going.
I was
up,
the rescue squad.
we used to drive up to this top of this mound that was, I don't know, maybe 50 feet tall or something.
Was
like
that River Road?
It was River Road, and there was that big dirt mound. It was.
Yeah, I got a lot of good memories of that place.
Yeah, we can maybe share off air. Yeah, I actually got. Remember the police came when I was up
Yeah, I
there?
know that story.
Oh god. So either way, there was they must have just built this mound, but the dump trucks had a path to go up the mound, a road to go up the mound and dump more dirt on the top. So I was going up this path, except it had freshly snowed, and I slipped off the edge. So I had to tie the Jeep with a tow strap to a tree, and then we got another Jeep behind it to try to. But I think we ended up with 3 tow trucks, all of whom I had to pay to come out there. It was bad.
Yeah, I remember doing rock climbing up that mound, and like you and Scott went first, and the thing is, it was all loose dirt. So like you
Well,
and
it's not
Scott
rock
went up.
climbing. It was a dirt mound.
But
So
it was
there
still
were
like
rocks
40 or
in
50 feet up. So if you fall, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
And like I'm the last one going up, so you guys just like loosened up all the handholds.
rock climbing because we're climbing dirt with rocks in it.
Yeah, and like I got about 5 feet from the edge, and the two of you are just like chilling, having already made it up there, and I'm just like pulling loose dirt, and like you guys had to like pull me up because I couldn't make it, not because I didn't have the strength to, but because I was just like clawing at like
As the mountain like erodes underneath your hands.
yeah. Yeah, because you guys certainly smoothed the path out for me.
All right, let's hit the next one. English horns. They don't come from England. They come from Poland.
Do you know what an English horn sounds like?
I know that it is a woodwind,
Yeah, because you read three words further.
but I don't know. I don't. It says in instruments related to the oboe, but I know what the French horn sounds like, and
Yeah, I know what a French horn looks like, but all right, Jerusalem artichokes come from North America. You know,
Jerusalem part might be a corruption of the Italian word sunflower.
girasole.
Girasole? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, have you ever gone to a grocery store and be like, "Oh, they got artichokes. Oh, they're not Jerusalem. Never mind."
No, but I do know Florida avocado is not like from, I don't know, I've seen it other places in Florida. Have you ever seen the Florida avocados, the big smooth ones?
Yeah, I've never bought them because like I'm not gonna mess with something that I don't know.
They're just not, they don't have as much flavor, but they're not bad, and you just get a lot of avocado out of them. I'll let you hit the next one.
So Rosh is saying that the French fries he had for lunch today are not coming from France, and he's
Oh,
on point because
wow.
that was the next one.
Coincidentally.
French fries are most likely from Belgium.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought maybe we invented them in the
Do
U.S.
you know how potato chips came into existence? You know this story?
No, I don't know the potato chip story.
So I believe this was actually somewhere in upstate New York that this happened, but the location doesn't matter that much. A guy goes to a restaurant and orders French fries, and he asks the chef to cut them thin. And the chef makes the dish, and the guy complains about the French fries being too thick. So he sends the plate back like 3 or 4 times. And finally, the chef gets really, really angry. Like, all right, I'm just going to cut this as thin as I possibly can. So he basically uses like a peeler
Yeah.
and puts them into the fryer and sends them back out. And the guy liked them, and that's how potato chips came to exist.
Interesting.
It was by
Yeah.
some asshole at a restaurant.
Well, you learn something new sometimes on some days. And then, of course, we renamed. Remember, there was a push to rename them Freedom Fries after 9/11?
No, it wasn't after 9/11.
I'm pretty sure it was. I thought this was a
No.
George Bush thing.
It was a George Bush thing, but it wasn't because of
Okay.
9/11. Not
Why was
directly,
it?
at least.
Well,
It
it was all
was-
about freedom at that point.
It was after we declared war in Iraq. France wouldn't join the coalition of the willing, and basically France says this is a dumb war, and we don't want to be a part of it. And so Americans got really pissed at the French for not being fully on our side in a stance that France ended up being proven largely correct on. So we said, screw that, we're not calling them French fries anymore. We're calling them freedom fries.
And of course, we didn't revert to French fries because the French were ultimately right. We reverted to French fries because nobody called French fries freedom fries.
Yeah, but it's really because we were ultimately lazy. Which, if you ever need to bet on something, bet on Americans being lazy.
True. All right. Next one. This is something I don't know. So, like some of these, I'm a bit like, where did these come from? Bombay duck. Not a duck. It's a fish.
Yeah, if you would ask me, what does a Bombay duck look like?
Love me some Bombay sapphire though. That's always a good one. Not top shelf, so that's good.
I like Bombay Sapphire.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's always a good one.
Two-toed sloth should be referred to as two-fingered sloths. Their front hands have 2 fingers on each, while their back feet have 3 toes. And to me, that sounds like you're really splitting hairs, because, like, sometimes they're walking on all 4 feet. Other times, like, when they're climbing a tree, they're using them more like arms. So, like, can we just agree that it's okay to call them two-toed sloths? Also, two-fingered sloths just doesn't have the same ring.
Doesn't have the ring to it. Yeah.
No.
All right.
Scientists really need to get with some marketing agencies on some of these things.
So I'm probably pronouncing this wrong. So Rosh, don't stab me. But Paris's Pont Neuf is the oldest bridge in the city, but the name means new bridge. It was completed in 1607.
Yeah, but not renaming it is definitely a French thing to do.
Rosh just commented, Point Neuf means new bridge.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I can totally see the French being like, should we rename it? No.
Well, the French, it's my understanding that they're a bit on the lazier side too, but with that righteousness to it, the self righteousness, to be lazy.
Yeah.
Whereas Americans just a bit more on the lazy end. All right, I'll let you hit the next one.
The Isle of Dogs in central London isn't an island, but rather a peninsula-like loop of land surrounded on three sides by the River Thames.
I
Okay,
thought
but like, who cares? Like, it's mostly surrounded by water. That's good enough.
All right, the next one I don't even know what it is. Cat gut is made from sheep gut and has never come from cat. The cat part is mysterious, but it might come from a corruption of kit, an old dialect for the word fiddle. Oh, is cat gut? I was thinking maybe that's what they like stretch over drums or something.
Dude, I
But
have no idea.
Raj, can you Google what cat gut is for us? Yeah, he said guitar. But where would you have something on a
The
guitar
strings?
strings?
I mean, I know that like for in tennis, like some tennis strings are made out of like sheep gut. So like it's called natural gut strings. So like some really high end tennis strings are actually
Oh, I
made
always
from.
wondered where gut was involved in that. Yeah, so the stomach must be really like densely rubbery.
Well,
And,
yeah, it's fibrous and like the advantage of like natural gut strings is that like they grip the ball really well, so you can hit with a lot of spin, and like they hold their tension well, so that way. But like they also rebound, so like
they
you can
spring
have
back
high
up.
tension for control, but still like get the power from the bounce out of the strings.
All right.
Violin strings are not made out of cat guts. All right,
No,
so violin strings close
but
enough
they're
to
but they're
guitar,
made
same
but they're
idea.
made from sheep gut. So it's called cat gut, but they think it comes from the word kit, which is a dialect for the
For
word
fiddle. Oh,
fiddle.
well then, dude, if we had just read four more words, we would have been able to figure it out.
All right, you hit the next one.
When you hit your funny bone, you're not hitting a bone, you're hitting your ulnar nerve. So yeah, like there's an exposed nerve ending there.
Yeah, that's a
And I think
shame.
funny bone is really just for the observers.
It has to be how it got its name, right? This is a funny feeling when you hit your bone, but people thought they were hitting the bone. All right, I'll hit the next one. The Battle of Bunker Hill mainly took place on nearby Breeds Hill in Boston, Massachusetts. All right, you got the next number 24 here.
Yeah, there are 1,864 islands in the Thousand Islands archipelago. Yeah, but like again, what sounds better? Because like if you go to like Minnesota and it's the land of 10,000 lakes, and they probably have more like 18 or 20,000. But you're not going to say the land of 18,467 lakes.
And then constantly be updating it for a while.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest reason why they don't want to give places like territories of the U.S. What are they like? Fuck! Why can't I think of the name? Puerto Rico. They don't want to consider them states. I think a lot of the pushback is they just don't want to add things to our flag.
Or that people like 50 because it's a round number.
Yeah, I don't know. We got what was it? Hawaii and Alaska. Were they like a package deal? They were two.
No, Hawaii came a good like 20 or 30 years after Alaska.
Oh, okay, so what was before Hawaii? Alaska,
Yeah.
and we were 48 for just a while, or
Yeah.
49 for just a while.
I think so.
All right. Well, all right. I don't see many flags except around 4th of July. Napoleon's 100 Days, the period between his return from exile and his restoration to French monarchy, lasted from March 20th to July 8th, 111 days.
Yo, that one's really annoying me. Like 100 days, 111 like again, it's just we get the point.
Yeah.
That's like saying like that's like somebody getting mad by saying like, yeah, 24 hours from now. And like if you mean a day from now, it's 23 hours and 56 minutes. Go find a hobby, dude.
Well, let's read the next three.
Yeah, the 1,000 Days War was 1,130 days. Close enough for me.
Okay,
The
but the
30
next
Days
one,
War.
this one's really misleading. The 30-day war.
The 30 Days War was a part of larger skirmishes that lasted 304 days. That one's not so close. And the 100 Years War was 116 years. So, again, I'm cool with that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think the days we're okay with, but the years maybe, I don't know.
No. It was
Or the 1,000.
30
When we're
to
in
300. That's too big of a gap. 100 to 111. Who cares?
All right. So now we.
All right. I want to just kind of pick and choose from these ones, and I actually want to throw in one of my own that might be on here, but I don't think it is.
Okay. All right.
So, have you ever heard someone say it has a really steep learning curve?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean to you?
I think that. Oh. Well, the curve would be over time, so it would actually be not a steep learning curve.
So if something like
so the x-axis would be time, right? The x-axis would be presumably time.
Yeah,
so steep means like it, meaning it would happen rather quickly.
Yeah. So like when people say it's a steep learning curve, they're talking about it being difficult, like you have to climb up this steep hill to get there. But in reality, a steep learning curve means something that you pick up really quick because over time you very quickly get it.
Yeah.
Like if it's a flat learning curve, that's hard.
Yeah, so the y-axis would be knowledge, the x-axis would be time, and meaning that you have traveled very little time and acquired a great vast amount of knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that may have run through my head in the past, but it's more the visual that the steeper it is, the more treacherous it is to scale, like our 50-foot dirt mountain. All right, can we hit the titmouse?
Yeah, it's all you.
Okay, good, because I'm really I've heard of the titmouse before. I assumed it was a mouse. I did not know that the titmouse is actually a bird, and they're related to chickadees. You know what chickadees are?
Kind of.
Yeah, they just make the noise, chickadee. That's the noise they make.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that we've got them around our house up in Albany. So my mom has bird feeders for attracting large populations of birds and/or squirrels.
And squirrels. Do you have your bird feeders at your house down there in South Carolina?
We got a bird house.
Okay.
Which actually has birds in it.
No.
You got to think like you look at all the other species, and they look at bird houses. You say, the only other wild animals that we know of that build their own houses. And who do the humans build houses for? Come on, man.
I got to tell you something funny, actually. But I'm thinking about making like some bird. I want to put like some hummingbird, like some sugar water stuff out there. I think that'd be a nice thing to do for some hummingbirds. I like birds. They eat the bugs, so that would be good for those spotted lanternflies. That's what they're called, not lighthouse flies. Spotted lanternflies. So
hummingbirds are cool. Do you have lizards where you are?
Fuck no. The lizards. There are some little salamanders. I was digging up rocks the other day. I found
like
some
the orange ones.
Orange ones and black ones. Yeah.
So we got like the green anoles. They look very much like geckos. I found out some time ago that one of the main parts of their diet is spiders.
Oh, nice. That's good.
So, like, they are easily my favorite species of animals in this state.
I know what I was going to tell you. If they could survive in this climate, I would get them as well. So we have a motion sensor light in the backyard, and it rarely goes off, especially in the middle of the night. And when it does, I'm like, shit, somebody's in the backyard. Like, let me defend the house. But a bird has nested, and it's on the second floor, so I can't even get to it. A bird has nested on top of the lights, and that's where the sensor is.
Okay.
So all night long, the bird and the baby birds or whatever is in there are moving around, bobbing their head and shit, and the light's on all night long. And then the second it goes off, it pops right back on. Because, of course, the bird notices that the light's gone off. It's probably like a heat source and probably clicks, wakes the bird up, and then it goes right back on. So,
or you could just turn it off.
Yeah, I don't know where the switch is for that. actually. So I haven't been here that long. All right, so we hit titmouse. You want to read the next one here?
Oh, we're still on. I thought we hit 28.
Yeah, we're on the next page here.
Oh, no, we're going through your Google Docs.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't doing that.
Oh, you weren't on
Oh,
that? Oh, okay.
I was on the misconceptions. I want to throw one other one out there, which I told you before we started the cast. That everyone, if you ask anybody, where do you lose most of your heat in the cold? Everyone will be like, yeah, you lose most of your heat from your head. And that's based on a study that they did where they had like infrared cameras and stuff of soldiers. Guess what the soldiers were wearing?
Heavy jackets and probably gloves and boots.
Yeah. So the only part of their body that was actually exposed was their head. Well, no shit, you lose most of your heat from your head.
Look, I'm a man of no hair on the head, and I can tell you, I was skiing in March, maybe. It was March when I went over to Colorado. Either way, it was a couple months ago. I didn't wear a hat the whole time. There was a brief amount of time. There was one really cloudy day, and I like pulled up the hood over my head. But my head doesn't really get cold. My ears don't get cold either. I don't know, but you know, when the sunny days where it was really warm out, I actually opened my jacket to cool off. So I think you lose most of your body heat from your torso.
That's where most of your body heat's going to reside, because
Yeah,
that's where, with the
your most
exception of your
blood.
brain, that's where all of your critical organs are.
That's where the action's happening. All right, you want to hit the gravy train?
Gravy train? Oh, I
Yeah,
love the
you-
phrase gravy train.
I don't really. I'm not even familiar with this phrase. It's not in my lexicon, but
Even,
I've heard it. Like I know it. I've heard of it before.
yeah, I love the phrase
It's not
gravy
something
train.
that I use.
I think I like thinking about it literally.
Well, I think that's what the misnomer is not gravy nor a train. But I'll let you explain what it is.
I just have this image of like this old steam engine puffing along with giant open carts of thick steaming gravy, and someone saying, "You have any idea how much this is worth?"
I had more of a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Chocolate River type image. No train at all, but
No. I'm thinking about like coasting through the hills of Pennsylvania is this train stocked with gravy.
not the mashed potato mountains. All right, so what is a gravy train? What does it mean?
Well, Rosh is saying there's mashed potatoes on the other side of the tracks, and if they collide, it's just delicious.
I'm not a big gravy guy, actually. But all right, go ahead. Tell me, what is a gravy train? I don't know.
An easily exploited source of money.
Okay, and where does it come from?
A metaphorical extension. Gravy can refer to something additional or unexpected, or yeah, I guess it's just that like it's something additional or unexpected that's pleasing or valuable in the way that literal gravy can add something tasty or complimentary to a meal.
Okay, what is a gravy boat? Is that what you serve gravy
boat?
in?
Yeah, it's like the cup that you keep the gravy in.
All right. So I'm going to share the next one, but I do want to hit some of the misconceptions also. But buffalo wing, which
I think
I know
most people know this.
No,
one.
I know you would be surprised. I can say
Really?
I would say probably 3 or 4 people in the last couple of years thought actually buffalo wings were somehow related to like a species of cow, like a buffalo type animal.
How?
I don't know. I don't have any idea. It's so weird. But there's some things
Unless they're like just relying too heavily on the Buffalo Wild Wings logo.
which is a buffalo. I went to a buffalo. I have fond memories of Buffalo Wild Wings in South Carolina. I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings here in New Jersey, like all revved up. It's been well over a decade, as you know, that I've been to a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Place hasn't changed.
Well, maybe I've changed then. It was like an arena. It was this giant, wide, open maybe it was also during coronavirus. The tables were like 8 feet apart from each other. It was super bright. Like there was no warmth to being inside the restaurant. There's a lot of like basketball and like football signs on the wall, a lot of sports TVs. And the food was. Have you been to a Fridays lately?
I have not been to a TGA Fridays in probably 10 years.
You know when you go in the freezer aisle in the grocery store and you see like the Fridays loaded potato wedges or something?
Yeah, it's the same food they serve in the restaurants.
It's the same exact food they serve in the restaurants, and the restaurant serves it about as well, prepares it about as well as you would if you opened a pack of frozen food and popped in the microwave.
Yeah. Like if you go to a TGA Fridays or an Applebee's or something, what you're really saying is, I'd rather pay somebody else to microwave my food.
That's exactly what's happening. It was disgusting. I went to Fridays a year ago because I haven't lived in the suburbs for over a decade. So in the city, it's like we have Fridays, we have Olive Garden. People don't go to those things. So I went to a Friday. I was like, oh, okay. Like this is just frozen food, and even worse, we were served with plastic utensils.
Yo, I would really like to meet the person that's a tourist in New York City and says,
Oh my God.
where do you think we should go for dinner tonight? How about the Olive Garden?
And there's a giant Olive Garden in Times Square. There's also a big Fridays in Times
who
Square.
goes there? Like
So many people.
You're
So
in a
many
city
people.
that has some of the best food on the planet, and you go to an Olive Garden.
I think it's just a comfortability thing. Like they're like, hey, we know this is going to be cheap. We know what the food's like. We eat here all the time. Versus like walking down, because remember, you're hanging out in Times Square. Nobody in New York hangs out in Times Square. So
Most people in New York, they spend most of their time in Times Square about 80 feet underground.
on the subway,
Right, because like Times Square, like if you're riding the subway in New York, if you live in New York City, chances are pretty good you're going through Times Square a lot. But you're not going above ground. There's nothing to see.
Exactly.
Like, why would you do that?
I've noticed actually there are giant, like 40-foot tall light up signs, like billboards, escaping Times Square. So my office is near Herald Square, or at least I walk through Herald Square and near Penn Station, and we have that Times Square-esque signs, which are really distracting, and they make the streets super bright. All around Madison Square Garden, Penn Station area. All right, let me share Buffalo Wings.
I would say if you're a tourist in New York City, definitely walk through Times Square. Like, it's cool to see.
Yeah, you should see it, but you shouldn't be spending your time there.
Or your money.
Fair enough. And you're probably getting ripped off anyways. Buffalo Wings, a deep fried chicken wing with a spicy sauce, usually served with blue cheese dressing. I'm going to read the full thing just so everybody knows here. Buffaloes have never had the capacity to fly. It's a very large creature. They don't have wings. So, and if they did have wings, the wings would be way too big to fit a dozen of them on a plate.
That would be impressive, though.
Yet, throughout the world, the name buffalo wing persists. But it's not talking about the animal. They're talking about the city of Buffalo in New York State, a little ways outside of Buffalo, Niagara Falls. I actually visited I think it was Anchor Bar, that is where
that invented them.
Invented buffalo wings, and it's because a lot of people, they order chicken, they want the chicken breast, or in some cases a chicken thigh, but in very few cases in the past, the chicken wing.
They've gotten super popular in the last 15 years, though.
Chicken wings?
Yeah.
I think it's been way more than 15 years. I would say early in our lifetime, they were becoming very popular.
Oh, so answer Rash's question about why is it called buffalo sauce? Same reason it's called buffalo wing.
Yeah, I think the original, I could be wrong on this, but it's my understanding that the basic buffalo sauce is Frank's Red Hot mixed with butter.
And a couple other spices, like basil, oregano, garlic.
Which is a great sauce, by the way.
It is.
I could eat that as a soup.
Some Parmesan.
All right. Let's just hit the next two real quick.
Cat burglar. So the reason why I haven't read this, but like when I think cat burglar, I think of someone that's like as quiet and stealthy as a cat.
That's the idea.
Not someone who's burgling cats.
They're stealing cats.
Which is going to throw off your stealth.
Imagine trying to steal somebody's cat. People steal dogs. I listened to a podcast actually about this woman who, her daughter was mixed up with somebody else's daughter, and she realized it very early on, and she raised the daughter as her own for like 40 years.
That
So,
if she noticed early on, why didn't she raise a big stink about it?
her husband told her not to. Her husband told her she was wrong, and the doctor, she didn't want to disgrace the doctor, and he was the husband was a minister, so apparently the doctor had done a lot of free stuff for them, and they didn't want to like disgrace the doctor, and then the woman got really sick and almost died for like 18 months, and she was kind of like bedridden for like 18 months, not in any position to be really doing anything about it. And once you've had a child for almost 2 years, it's a little too late to like go to the town next door and be like, hey, I think we switch the kids.
Well, yeah, that's something that you probably would have wanted to make an alert about, like in the first week.
I mean, I don't know much about babies. There's one newborn baby in my family, except now he's actually like 1 year old. But they all kind of look the same to me. Just different versions of like
kind of lumpy
baby. Yeah, I wouldn't know if a baby, like a fresh human, like freshly out of the womb, I wouldn't know necessarily if that resembled me or somebody else. And if it didn't resemble me, I wouldn't think to myself, this must be somebody else's baby.
Yeah,
right?
They all kind of taste the same too.
Yeah, well, if you're eating people eat what is it? The part
placenta? That's
placenta.
That's obscene.
That is weird, man. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about the Jewish thing where they put at the bris where they collect all the foreskin, they put it on the ball. I was thinking about how weird that is, and then I was thinking
that's weird too.
I was thinking about the women that eat the placenta. And they cook it first. Like, oh god,
you will never be able to explain to me why somebody would be compelled to do that.
Some animals do it. Like some animal, like
but like also the animals eat poop, so.
I'm sure there's people out there. I don't know.
But like, you're not going to be able to explain to me why people would do that one either. So
the Norton or McAfee guy that's out in the islands that like is crazy. The antivirus guy.
I think he's dead now.
Oh, is he dead? He got real eccentric and weird. Either way, coat of arms. Let's just hit this one real quick. Coat of arms. Coat of arms is neither a coat nor arms. It's usually. It's basically some logos and symbols that your family likes that you have represent your family. But
hold on, there's a John McAfee quote that just is out there.
Okay,
where he's like, he was talking about how he's like, I owe a whole crap load of taxes because I had to have my secretary start preparing them because I was too busy fucking my accountant.
Okay. All right. Oh, the Canary Islands. Did you know this? Did you know where the Canary Islands got their name?
Nope.
From canine, from the Latin word canine. And then actually the bird canary was named after the island. The islands weren't named after the bird. I guess that makes sense.
Well, do you know how oranges were named?
By the color?
They were named after the color.
Yeah, unless you're speaking Spanish.
Or maybe it's the other way around, where like the color was named after the fruit.
The chicken or the egg. I would say the orange or the name orange or the color orange. The orange fruit or the color orange is more difficult to explain than the chicken and the egg.
Oh, the chicken and the egg's easy. The egg came first.
Yes,
there were eggs way before there were chickens.
That's now you're just James. You're making this confusing for dumb people.
Well, lots of things are.
They should
be used to it by now.
I've been thinking about this lately, that when you tell people that there's no possible way, like if you give them the evolutionary basis about how, of course, the egg came before the chicken, they still don't like believe you. They're like, oh, that's just what you think. And they're not compelled by the evidence. It's not really sinking in.
Well, it's like the old saying of like, if you get into an argument with an intelligent person, you may sometimes win. You get into an argument with an idiot, and you will always lose.
Yeah, that's why I try to, man. It's not fair for
I don't know. I think you can go undefeated.
All right. All right. So let's hit these more of these misconceptions just until we run out of time. We got like 5 minutes left, and if we're feeling up to it, maybe we'll hit a couple more. This is a new article. This is from dailymail.co.uk, a trusty news source. I think that Daily Mail is pretty equivalent to the British version of like the New York Post, right?
I don't know.
I mean, all these news websites now just kind of recycle like bullshit news. That's not real news. I don't think there should be an article on a Daily Mail website. I think it should be mostly news. This isn't really news, but it gets readership. So, what do you got?
This one ticks me off. The Great Wall of China can be seen from space.
That can be seen from space.
Like anything can be seen from space.
Wait, if you zoom in enough.
Yeah.
Okay, but can it be seen from space by the naked eye?
Depends on what your elevation is.
Yeah, I guess they're saying
and what your definition of space is.
Well, they're saying all these spaceship trips that like what's his name, Bezos and the Virgin Mobile guy.
Those are all low Earth orbit.
They're like if this is space, they're like this far above the Earth, which is not even cool. Like it's not even. You just end up in free fall for a little while, so you have zero gravity.
Yeah,
like,
also like on the topic of space, like the moon is crazy far away from Earth.
Relative to what? Relative to where these guys are traveling. Like it's not like they're making halfway to the moon.
Whenever you look at like pictures and it's like here's the Earth and like here's the moon.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like farther than that.
It's so that's the thing. Like James he stretches his arms out to give you this perspective, but in actuality, we're traveling just a quarter centimeter outside of the surface of the Earth, what we call space. It's not like they're going halfway to the moon and then like chilling out for a little while and coming back.
No, the moon is like 260,000 miles away.
And you couldn't go halfway to the moon and turn back. Am I right on that? You would have nothing to really.
You got thrusters, sure.
I mean, but getting that high with thrusters, you'd have to have all that fuel with you. Is that even...
Yeah, it would like any of the missions to the moon have used the moon's gravity to slingshot them back to Earth.
Yeah,
because like having enough thrust to get as far as the moon and then having to reverse that speed using your fuel or whatever, that's just not feasible.
You just can't carry the fuel that far. You drop the fuel tanks, the big fuel tanks that get you off of the Earth, which I think you would need similar fuel tanks to slow your speed with thrusters.
Well,
then to accelerate back towards
double
Earth.
the fuel.
At least, because you have to slow yourself, and then two, you have to accelerate, given your
right. So you have to accelerate from Earth to a given speed, and then you have to reverse that acceleration, and then accelerate back towards Earth, or you can just let the moon's gravity do it for you.
Well, if your calculations are off by just a millimeter on Earth, it's going to be miles by the time you miss the moon. All right, so share with me another one. This one's not written in a format that is easy enough for me to read. It's not.
This is another one. Different parts of your tongue detect different tastes.
Yeah, I've heard that's not true.
Definitely not true.
Yeah, I used to experiment with that as a kid, and it never kind of rang true to me.
Yeah, I remember like maybe in a health class or something, we even had to like memorize the tongue map. Be like, this is sour, this is sweet, and like you might have like some parts might be more sensitive. But it's not like if like the sour part of your tongue can only taste sour, and if you put something sweet to the sour part, you'd be like, I don't know what this is. Like you just put it on the wrong place.
You're eating some buffalo wings, and it goes in the wrong part of your mouth. You go, so is this pizza? What Chinese food? What is this? Let me move it to the other side of my mouth.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's keep going.
Are these numbered somewhere, or are you reading the infographic here?
Don't worry about it. You can just keep going with this. I think we already talked about this one. Fortune cookies, Chinese or not Chinese?
I think we did talk about this. Is this invented by America?
invented by Japanese Americans.
Oh yes, we did talk about that during. Oh fuck, we're out of time. All right, we're gonna hit a few more on this list. We're gonna hit a few more on this list, and unfortunately, Instagram and those of you watching on Instagram, you're gonna have to join us on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube. All right, I'm gonna pause that. We are out. Instagram. Sorry about that, my friends. We're gonna hit just a couple more misconceptions before we wrap.
All right, so this one. There is a dark side of the moon. So what they're talking about is how like the moon's rotating on its own axis, so like at any point, like over a month or something, the moon will have sun hit some part of it. But it is true in that there is one side of the moon that faces the earth at all times.
Explain that.
So you've got the earth. The
Okay.
earth is rotating, right?
Okay.
And you've got the moon. The moon is rotating.
Okay.
The moon rotation. So if you've got like my palm is one side of the moon and like the earth. So each one's rotating. But as the moon rotates, the earth, its orbit, moves at the same speed as the moon is rotating. So as the moon orbits the earth, it's not orbiting like this. It's orbiting like this, where it's like where as the moon rotates on its axis.
What you're saying is we only see one side of the moon ever. However, we don't always see the whole side of it because we have crescent moons and waning gibbuses. And
No. We like the face of the moon that is facing the earth is always the same.
Yeah.
The part of the moon that's illuminated by the sun changes based on like
where the moon
orbit of the moon is.
Yeah, that's
why you see phases of the moon in terms of like full moon, half moon, etc.
Is that not what I just said when I said waning gibbous, crescent moon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're on the same page here. We're on the same page. What I said was, we got it.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have?
Are you skipping right through these? I see the list here. I see the list. The tongue, the peanuts.
Oh, I hate this one. People use just 10% of their brain.
Yeah, I wish
now,
that
there's
was
some
the
people
case.
I've met that's true.
I wish that was the case.
Like it's not true. You use 100% of your brain. Just chances are not all at once.
What about the one prior to that? I thought this one was true.
I had never heard this one.
Sunflowers go like this. Any flower kind of tracks the sun, I thought. So it says the sunflowers track the sun across the sky, which I was pretty sure they do. They're saying that's a misconception.
They're saying that they actually do track the sun, but only before they've bloomed.
Okay. How about your hair and fingernails continue to grow after you die?
Not true.
I've heard this before. They say your skin just shrinks basically because
your body dehydrates, and so everything kind of shrivels up and it pushes like your fingernails and your hair out. But it's not that your hair is there's new hair cells being created and grown. It's the same hair cells getting kind of just the skin pulls back from them.
What about you want to do the Empire State one here?
You got it.
The dropping a penny from the top of the Empire State Building would kill someone.
Yeah,
And
not true.
They're saying that's not true. A penny only weighs about a gram, and it tumbles as it falls because it's tumbling and because it has such a light weight, and there's a lot of air resistance pushing the penny, slowing the penny down effectively, that it never hits enough speed. So it's not going to be going the speed of a bullet.
No.
Right? It's going to reach.
Now, if there was no air resistance, it might actually be true.
Oh, if there was no air resistance, if it wasn't, also because a penny is flat, so maybe if it was something spherical like a marble.
If you were to take I don't think a marble because there's just not enough mass to a marble. But if you were to take maybe
a brick,
a brick would definitely kill you.
Somebody died by a brick a couple of years ago. That's why they have all that local law.
I actually think if you were to do, I'd love to see this experiment done. Drop a penny from the top of the Empire State Building and measure how fast it's going when it hits the ground. I would bet that if you had someone that had a good enough arm, they could throw a penny faster than its terminal speed.
Yeah,
Because like you're whipping your arm, you could like the penny is going to be going faster than its air resistance would normally allow under gravity. I would bet that you would hurt somebody worse by throwing a penny as hard as you could at their head than dropping it off the Empire State Building.
you want to hit one of these next ones here?
No, you keep going.
Okay. Many people believe that bulls are angered by the color red, when in actuality, it's proven they can only see blue and yellow. However, they react to the cape because of the movements of fluttering, which, for whatever reason, enrages them. So that's strange.
Well, it's you can try this experiment with like a dog or a cat, where it's like any movement like that will excite the animal.
Yeah. How about caffeine causes dehydration, but it actually only acts as a mild diuretic?
Which
What is
kinda
dehydration?
dehydrate
Though? Yeah, dehydration. If it raises your body temperature and you're sweating,
or if you're peeing a lot.
and if it's acting as a diuretic and you're peeing more, I think a cup of coffee certainly could make you dehydrated that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that fact there.
And it also makes you have to take a crap. Thank you, Rush. Thank you, Rush. All right. Oh, you've said this before on the podcast. The next one, number 30.
Your blood is blue before it's oxygenated. Yeah, that's total crap. I don't know. I think the myth comes that like because your veins have a vaguely bluish appearance, just because of the material that veins are made out of.
Yeah.
But blood is red no matter what.
Next one, goldfish has a memory of only 3 seconds. Apparently, that's not true. They can be trained to respond to various ways to certain colors of light, different types of music, other sensory cues. So that's
I
interesting.
would have loved to have been the science, like the research assistant that had to write that grant application.
We're certain. We hypothesized that the goldfish have.
How much do you need in funding? $8 million.
Yeah, there you go. Oh God. All right. What else do you want to hit? Here?
We'll get through a couple real quick. Albert Einstein was bad in school. Not even remotely true. Like he was like way ahead of like his peers, especially in math.
No, I don't know where that came from. Albert Einstein. He's not really depicted in movies very much. You have like Stephen Hawking. There's a movie called The Theory of Everything. Like that's actually a good movie. You got who's Alan Turing? There's an Alan Turing movie. But Einstein doesn't like he's depicted in movies, but he's not. There's no Albert Einstein story.
And that's unfortunate because his life is fascinating.
I think his life is really cool, and being able to contextualize his basically what he discovered in his lifetime would, I think, play really well on a movie if it was written to a way that most viewers could understand it. But I don't think he lived enough drama.
Well, there were some issues with the way he treated the women in his life.
Well, Stephen Hawking, by the way, had like several wives, didn't he? I know he had more than one at least.
I don't know.
All right. What else should we hit here?
Let's do one more and call it a night.
All right. Fair enough.
We already talked about carrots helping you see in the dark, but I think that's a good one to end on.
I got to do the salty water.
All right. Do the salty water. I'll do the carrots in the dark, and you can end with salty water.
Okay. So
carrots helping you see in the dark. That was a myth that the British came up with during World War II. Do you know why?
Yeah, I'm not reading what you said, or what's on the page. I think we talked about this, and I think was it that they had like night vision or something, and they were just telling
Radar.
people they're eating carrots.
Radar.
Yeah, and they were just telling people they eat a lot of carrots, right?
Yeah, so they had radar so they could detect the German bombers that were flying over London, and they could train their anti-aircraft batteries on them because they could pick them up with radar even though it was nighttime. And so the Germans couldn't figure out why their planes were getting shot down in the middle of the night. And the British said, we have better night vision because of all the carrots that we eat.
Because all the carrots we eat over here in England, yeah. All right, I want to this salty water. So adding salt to water makes it boil quicker, when in actuality that is not the case. However, I wanted to add that water can boil more quickly at higher altitudes.
Mm-hmm.
So that is pretty interesting. And also, when you're at higher altitudes, you have to adjust your baking because just temperature works different because of the air pressure. Yeah. So that is pretty cool. Did you see the video? They found some crazy fish like so many miles underwater this week. You see that one?
No, but
You ever seen any fish that they bring up from way down deep in the ocean?
Yeah, they're scary looking.
They look like blobs. Well, really, they don't look like that in their natural habitat, but they're under so much pressure underwater that when they bring them up to sea level, there's much less pressure on them because they don't have as much water pushing down on them, and they just kind of explode. So
Well, they
like
would explode
hemorrhaging.
if you bring them out into the air, but the thing is, like, the reason why fish don't get crushed by like that the insane pressures at 10 or 20,000 feet below sea level is because there's not really any gas in the fish. And so water doesn't really compress, like its compressibility is tiny. So like the fish doesn't have anything in it that's really compressible.
Well, I'll send you these pictures of these fish. I would think that some aspects of the fish, like even like their muscle fibers and things like that, could compress. But what you're talking about is the actual air and the oxygen that is inside of their body.
It's because it's going to be oxygenated solution, so there's no air bubbles. It's all dissolved oxygen. So it's like there's no gas that's going to be able to expand or contract with compression.
You know, yes, I follow you there. One of the things I wanted to talk about was all these waters that they're selling, all these waters that they're like
The alkaline waters.
Alkaline water and the water with extra. So there's some NBA players got this water with extra oxygen in it, but
H3O.
Well, no, that would be
H2O2.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Oh,
H2O2.
H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide.
It's peroxide, exactly.
Yeah, which you don't want to drink.
I walked out of a CVS the other day and saw this sign that said, "Now with more oxygen in your water," and I thought to myself, exactly what you just said. H2O2. Isn't that peroxide? Like what? Unless like one of the water factories like shake up the water more or something. There's what? So
it makes me. Have you seen Idiocracy?
I've seen religiosity. Or
No.
What's that? Bill Maher.
You've got to watch the movie Idiocracy.
I may watch it this evening.
Um,
All right. Fair enough. We close the podcast on this note.
Yeah, because when you're talking about the water having more oxygen in it, it makes me think of a product in the movie Idiocracy, Brondo, the thirst mutilator. It's got electrolytes.
All right. Let's. I want to keep going actually, but we got to end. We got to wrap up for tonight. We got misnomers and we got misconceptions. That is the episode. Thank you guys.
And Rosh is saying to stay on for some reason.
All right, so we're gonna stay here and leave all of you guys. We're just gonna end our stream. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and all audio podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. And we will see you next time. Adios. All right, you made it this far. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening this much. But I do have one request, and it is that if you have not already, please consider following this podcast. Helps us grow, and we appreciate it. So we'll see you next time. Adios.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.